3, 4. No singing? Ish.
Looks like a friggin' G.I. Joe.
Take a couple from the front too. Can you superimpose it so that I look good? I don't want to. Like a mouth breather. I don't want to see those on your wall, Kevin. Oh, I had to block her. And the hand pastel one. Just doing an audio check here if anyone still needs it. Are all the cameras good with the white balance? That's for my Instagram. I always check the folder you send. Yeah. 5? Okay. 5 minutes. Four minutes. Everyone's good with the camera? Three minutes. Just a friendly reminder, make sure your phones are off or on silent, please. Including me. Two minutes. One minute. Thirty seconds. $15 seconds. 10 seconds. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Toronto Police Headquarters. Today, Superintendent Richard Harris of 12 Division and Inspector Christy Smith of the Hold Up Squad will be providing an update on a home invasion and kidnapping investigation. Following their remarks, they will be taking questions from the media. Superintendent?
Great, thank you. And good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to be providing an update on a home invasion and kidnapping investigation that took place on Tuesday, late night and into the early morning hours of Wednesday, December the 3rd. And we're sharing these details in hopes that the public can assist us in identifying two outstanding suspects. So on the night of December 2nd, a victim arrived at a residence in a red Honda Civic. A suspect vehicle pulled up and three individuals approached and at gunpoint forced him back into his vehicle. Between 11 p.m. and 12 a.m., the suspects drove the victim around the Martin Grove and John Garland Boulevard area, making demands. And when they returned to the residence, a second victim, the homeowner, approached the vehicle in the driveway. Both men were then forced inside the home, where a third victim was awoken. All three were held at gunpoint, and one suspect produced a shotgun. The suspects robbed the home of jewelry, clothing, cash, and cannabis before fleeing. But they fled in that suspect car, also in a Honda Civic, and the homeowner's blue Ford F-150. It's that time when the victims then contacted police. A short time later, at approximately 1:45 in the morning, uniform officers from 12 Division observed the stolen vehicles in the Western Road and Highway 401 area, and the officers blocked the red Honda Civic with their scout car, and the lone suspect attempted to flee on foot. But before the officers were able to effect that arrest, it's alleged that that suspect produced a loaded firearm and pointed at one of the officers. The officers were able to seize the handgun and take the suspect into custody, and thankfully no officers were injured. Shortly after, the stolen vehicle, the blue Ford F-150, was located and tracked to a dead-end street in the area of Albion Road and Islington Avenue. That vehicle charged at a scout car and also fled. But it was ultimately stopped by the emergency task force and members of our K-9 unit at approximately 3 o'clock that morning. And that took place in the area of St. Clair Avenue West and Runnymede Road. After a short foot pursuit, a second individual was taken into custody as well. But before I turn it over to Inspector Smith from our hold-up squad, I want to commend our officers for their diligence in apprehending these violent individuals. And as you know, home invasions are terrifying for victims, and those victims should feel safe in their own homes. And it's extremely dangerous for responding officers, as suspects often are armed and unpredictable. If you have any information about these people involved in this incident, you are asked to please contact police and help us take them off the streets. I'll now turn it over to Inspector Smith.
Thank you, Superintendent. Due to the nature of the alleged offenses, including a home invasion robbery and theft of motor vehicles, the hold-up squad is now leading this investigation. I also want to thank the officers involved for their work into yesterday morning in taking two violent individuals into custody. Jermaine Smith, 35, and Tajan Kelly, 30, both of Toronto, are being charged with a litany of serious offenses, including kidnapping, robbery with a firearm, and theft of a motor vehicle involving violence, otherwise known as a carjacking. Smith is also being charged with pointing a loaded firearm at an officer. Kelly faces additional charges for not complying with his release conditions and 2 counts of possessing a firearm contrary to a prohibition order. We are continuing to seek the public's assistance to identify and locate the other 2 individuals believed to be involved in this kidnapping and home invasion. As a reminder, there was a 3rd person, victim's Honda Civic, during the kidnapping, and a 4th individual driving the suspect car. The suspect in the Honda Civic during the kidnapping is described as a male black with a Jamaican accent. We do not have the description of the outstanding suspect in the suspect vehicle, nor information pertaining to that vehicle. I am appealing to the public for anyone who is in the area of Martin Grove and John Garland Boulevard between 11 p.m. and 12:30 a.m., or in the Weston Road and Highway 401 area known as the Crossroads Plaza, or the Runnymede and St. Clair Avenue Road area between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. We are asking for dash cam footage, residential home surveillance camera footage, or any retail business footage that could assist us in identifying the outstanding suspects and their vehicle. Anyone with information is asked to contact Toronto Police at 416-808-7350 or anonymously by calling Crime Stoppers. While home invasions in the City of Toronto have dropped by 40% in Toronto compared to this time last year, they remain a serious concern for both police and residents. If you know something, please say something. We will now take questions.
What were the sorts of demands the suspects were making of the victim when they were driving for that hour?
The purpose of the demands was to return to the address where the victim initially was for the purpose of engaging with the person at that home.
Did the victim live at that home as well?
One of the residents one of the victims of this lived at that residence, yes.
Do you believe that this original victim was targeted? Because it appears that when they did go inside the house, they were able to find, you said, cash, jewelry, and cannabis, right? So do you think that they were specifically targeting him because of what he had in mind?
We do believe this was targeted. The individuals involved appeared to know where they were going and what they were looking for.
Was it a large quantity of cannabis?
I'm not going to speak to that investigation at the time.
Also, you said there were 3 vehicles. There was the red vehicle, but this is the outstanding. I'm confused about how they stole originally the Honda Civic, and then there was a blue F-150, and then there's a third vehicle. Can you just clarify?
Absolutely. So the suspects, 4 of them, arrived in a suspect vehicle. The victim was out front of the address where the home invasion occurred, which came in a red Honda Civic for which you have a picture. There is a blue F-150 in the driveway that belongs to the homeowner. So there's the outstanding suspect vehicle and the 2 victim vehicles that were seized, which you have a picture of.
What's the outstanding suspect vehicle?
We don't have any information about that, which is why we're appealing to the public for that dash cam footage to help us find out the information about the vehicle.
According to the news release, it appears there are 3 vehicles. There's the red Honda Civic, and then there's the vehicle that you located at Albion and Islington.
The blue Ford F-150.
Right, and then there's St. Clair and Runnymede. That's where I'm confused. What's that vehicle?
So the blue Ford F-150 was initially at Albion and Islington and got away from the police and was relocated again later at Runnymede and St. Clair.
One of the stolen vehicles collided with a police cruiser. Do you mind just clarifying the circumstances around that?
So there was the blue F-150, I believe, drove at the police vehicles to get away at that incident at Martin Grove and Islington, or Albion, sorry.
And at Martin Grove and Albion, those were marked scout cars, or those were marked units?
I don't have information about those particular police vehicles at that point.
How old are the victims involved, especially the initial victim? Is he the son of the homeowners?
No, he is not.
Can you speak to his age versus the other victims?
I don't have information on that other victim's age at the time.
What about the initial victim?
I don't have that with me, no.
The officers that were trying to make the arrest on Martin Grove, were they uniformed officers or were they plainclothes?
The initial information was that plainclothes officers initially located that F-150, and it was the emergency task force and K-9 that eventually recovered the F-150 in the area of Runnymede and St. Clair.
When they had the victim in their own vehicle and they were driving around for that hour, where were they driving?
We don't know information about where they were driving, just that they were not too far from the area of Martin Grove and John Garland when they were driving around.
We report on home invasions frequently in the news, and really, you said this was a targeted home invasion. Can Can you speak to whether you believe most home invasions are targeted, or was this one different than most? Because I think people in the community, and I get asked about it all the time, is it just, do they randomly choose these homes? Or in this case, you said it was targeted. So does this make it different than most home invasions?
I would say that every situation is obviously unique, but there's usually some sort of information that our suspects know about a vehicle at the home that they want to invade, or valuables that have been in the home that make them a target for it. I don't know that it's necessarily random houses that are chosen.
And it's an F-150. We know that's one of the vehicles that is most stolen. So do you believe that that might have been one of the reasons this home was targeted? My other question is, why did they drive him around? Why didn't they just take him into the house when they first grabbed him, when he came out of his vehicle?
When the victim first pulled up to the home, the homeowner was not home at the time. There was time for the homeowner to return home.
I see. So what is his relationship to the homeowner is what I'm trying to figure out.
All we know is that he's an acquaintance.
Is the victim's home known to police?
I don't have any information to support that, no. I'll take one more question.
Were the suspects, it appears though they were waiting for this vehicle to arrive at the house, that they were sitting around kind of in the neighborhood waiting for this red Honda Civic to arrive at the victim inside.
We have no information to suggest that the initial victim in the red Honda Civic was targeted. There's nothing to suggest that at this time.
Thanks, everyone.
So wait, sorry, the home was targeted, not the initial victim? That's where I'm confused. Inspector Harris?
If I can, sorry.
Go ahead.
It appears that the home was targeted, and it appears also that they were obviously looking for the one homeowner that was not there at the time. But again, the caveat is this is an ongoing investigation, and the reason why we're here obviously is to seek public assistance in helping us identify the outstanding suspect vehicle. We're asking members of the public to please check their dash cam, please check their home video in and around the times that we mentioned, and there's going to be a media release that speaks to the times that we're most interested in, and really give us assistance in getting our identifying and getting our outstanding dangerous individuals off the street in a timely manner.